G'day, my name is Joel Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his fight at Eternal 86 on June 22nd, I'm talking to Mr. Lachlan Stitt. Lachlan, I thank you very much for the time. How are you this Tuesday afternoon?
Good, thank you. Very good, Jake. Thanks, Joel. Yeah,
Excellent. You just got back from a run, so I do appreciate you giving me the time. How was the run?
great, man. Yeah, the body's feeling unreal, and this is the best I've come into a fight week. So just staying loose this week, keep the body moving, nothing too strenuous, just a weight cut, and then it's showtime.
Fantastic. Now, you're obviously you're in the car at the moment. Were you running
Yeah,
outside?
yeah, outside, yeah, just a local track, just in Picton. So they got a nice sort of track with some trees and stuff like that. It's good, man. It's a nice calm environment to run in.
Is it like a nice view? Do you get something nice to look at while you do your run?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, yeah, it's nice, big open, like the mountains and stuff. Looking at all the grass and all the trees and stuff like that. It's good, man. It's good for the soul. A bit of grounding.
And of course, you mentioned there, you're connecting, you're getting grounded. Are you a music on during the run guy, or are you no music?
Sometimes I leave the music in the car and sort of hype myself up beforehand, and then just focus on my breathing. Then other times I'll listen to some podcasts or some music and stuff like that. So no, I sort of tend to mix it up.
Today, was it music or no music?
Music today, yeah,
Very
music
nice.
today. Let's some fight warm ups. Just a few pump up songs, a bit of AC/DC, bit of
Oh,
that. So it's good.
oh, classic. What could you name me a song that you're listening to?
Oh, definitely TNT. I think was the first one that came on and Shoot to Thrill as well. So they're some of my favorites. The
Oh,
Lincoln Park in there as well. So yeah,
oh, very nice. Some real classics in there.
yeah.
Um, it's funny you talk about TNT. That is Jack Della Maddalena's walkout song, and you, of course, are fighting for the vacant Eternal Welterweight title, a title he used to hold.
Correct.
Um,
Yeah,
I know this isn't the first title fight in your career. If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, your last fight was actually your first professional title fight.
yeah.
But what does fighting for that Eternal Welterweight title mean for you?
Oh, it's huge, man. Since I turned pro and signed exclusively with Eternal, I've been eyeing off that belt. Since I started and seeing what Jack's done now in the UFC, and having that belt for so long and defending it, I'd love to step into those shoes and create the new sort of reign for myself in the welterweight Eternal division.
I mentioned there, though, in your last fight in Enduro, you captured their
Yeah,
professional welterweight title.
correct. Yeah,
The fight didn't necessarily last long, but how
no.
was it to get that first pro title fight under your belt?
Oh, that was huge. I really needed, just the win itself, coming off a loss and coming off an injury. It was massive to get that fight, and Enduro runs a great show, and getting the belt wrapped around my waist is a great feeling. So no, that was a great win for me and the team and everything, and all that we've been through in that last sort of 6 months leading up to that. So that was a big win for me.
How was it before the fight? Like, does it feel different when you're fighting for a title?
Not really. I've fought for a few belts and stuff throughout my amateur career, and obviously now uh, the recent one at pro. It doesn't really change too much, leading into the fight or anything like that. At the end of the day, it's still a fight. I have a job to do. Go in there, execute, the game plan, stuff like that, and obviously being a title fight, it does add a little bit of you get the hardware at the end, and that's great, but it is still a fight at the end of the day.
Have you spoken at all with a teammate of your, Caleb Rideout, a man who used to hold this title? He's obviously fought for titles before
Yeah,
you have. Has that everything, like, have you ever spoken to him about that?
yeah. Caleb has a bit of a different way that he leads into his fights and stuff, and I think that's good. A lot of fighters are different in their lead up and how they process the emotions of fighting and stuff like that. And yeah, Caleb has his own way of doing things, and I have my own way of doing things along with other people at the gym. So yeah, everyone's different, I think, man.
He is the crazy horse for a reason. So I
He
have
is the
no
crazy horse. Yeah.
I have no doubt that he has a different way of doing things.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
You were taking on John Varkey for the title.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on John as an opponent?
Well, obviously knowing that he is quite, high in the rankings and stuff, we've been looking at all those names, and John is a name that did stick out. And I thought I might have fought his brother James first, been in that not as many fights and stuff like that. But when we got the opportunity to, have the title shot and against such a high caliber opponent, man, we jumped at it because I believe in my ability wholeheartedly that obviously John has a lot more experience in the professional ranks. This will be my 16th fight overall, since I turned 18. So I'm super excited to fight, someone like John, and I think it's going to bring out the best in me and bring out something that people haven't seen before. So
Talking about that experience, you admitted it there. He obviously has quite an extensive record behind him.
yeah,
You said you jumped at the opportunity, but still, like mentally, how do you prepare yourself to be like, all right, I'm about to fight a guy who has more wins than I have fights?
yeah. Well, that's it. If you want to get to the next level, this is what people don't seem to understand. If you want to get to Contender Series, UFC, these international promotions, these are the guys you need to fight. There's no point in mucking around, between the 0 and 6 fights and picking fights and, oh, let me have one more before I fight him, and maybe one more before I fight that guy. Like this is my fifth pro fight now. I've had, some amateur experience. I've had pro, early pro experience. It's time now to show, that I belong in the top rankings in Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, I believe in my ability. My coaches believe in my ability. They see me train. They've seen me progress from a 17-year-old, all through my kickboxing career, amateur MMA career, and stuff like that. So no, it doesn't change the mental side of it. Leading into this fight, it's still a fight at the end of the day. I know John's a dangerous opponent, and we've prepared very well for him.
You kind of touch on that there, but what is the goals for you?
Oh well, getting this belt wrapped around my waist this weekend. That's a huge goal for me. I'm not looking past John at all. Hopefully, maybe a couple title defenses, and then it's international for me, I think.
You're a young man who is early on into his MMA
Yeah,
career. You talked kind of about that. You did have an extensive kickboxing career prior to that.
yeah,
Um, we mentioned at the top of the interview, Jack Della Maddalena, a man who won the title early on in his career and then had 5 title fights before he got that
yeah,
call.
yeah.
Is that something you're almost maybe preparing yourself for? The concept of I may win this title, but I may have to keep doing work here before I get that call.
Well, we'll just take it as it comes. Jack fought the best guys in Australia and proved that he's ready for that international, and that's my goal to do the same thing. Fight the best guys, prove that I do deserve that international shot, and that I'm next in line for it.
You've been handpicked essentially by Cam O'Neill to be one of the hardest men to match in
Yeah,
local mixed martial arts, and people know how good you are. How
yeah,
is that for a young man coming up, and you've kind of got like a lot of eyes on you?
yeah. I dealt with that early in my pro career. Leading into that, one loss that's on my record, I sort of thought that I was bulletproof, and I sort of, read into the headlines and all this stuff, and I was just a little bit immature, I think. When that was happening, and now having the loss, going through an injury, going through different things, I think I've matured a lot more. Being able to deal with the headlines and with all the things that people say, and just sort of block it out. And we've seen that in my training, that I'm a lot more focused, and I know what I need to do, and I know what I need to execute.
Kind of touched on it there. Following that loss, there was an injury. You've kind of disclosed that recently,
Yeah,
and Is that what led? There was a 10-month gap between
Yeah,
fights. Is that what led to that?
yeah. I after that fight that I lost, I went to Thailand for the Tiger Muay Thai tryouts. Um, Unfortunately suffered a bad injury over there that wasn't getting fixed when I came back. I thought it was just a little, niggling injury, and it just sort of got worse and worse and worse. And I tried to train through it, and just things weren't right. And it took, getting scans and stuff done to realize that I herniated a disc in my lower back. And I had a lot of nerve pain. It was hard to even walk sometimes, getting up out of bed was even a struggle. So I wanted to have another couple of fights end of last year, obviously to rectify the loss, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, and I ended up needing surgery. Then after the surgery, obviously, you had to do rehab to build the back up ready to get into full MMA training and stuff like that, which took time. And as an athlete, not being able to train, that was really hard, mentally and physically, not being able to do what I love. So now that I'm, back at the start of the year, I did that camp. That went great. Got the win. Had a little bit of time off after that, just to build the body back up again. And then pretty much jumped straight back into camp again for this fight.
You touched on that there. You would, if you could have, you would have had fights following that loss to distance
Yes,
yourself.
absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to get it back as soon as possible. At the end of last year, I ideally wanted two fights, but the body just, like, it just wasn't working. So the only way to sort of, and it took a while for me to make a decision to actually get the surgery. Being so young, they don't normally see that injury in a lot of people. So that was our last option, was obviously the surgery. But it's been great, man. Honestly, the surgeon did a great job. The rehab went unreal. So I'm so glad to just be back, and I'm happy to be back, doing what I love.
The scene is definitely happy to have you back. You
Yeah.
you mentioned it there, but the recovery's gone well. You've recovered fantastically.
Yeah, unreal. I went for my holiday in December while my back was healing up, so that was good, having a little bit of time and to sort of rest it and not put too much pressure on it. Once I got back from the holiday, we jumped into the rehab, and it responded really, really well. I've had no issues. The only thing, just I take recovery a little bit more seriously now, which is what I've learned. That might have led to the injury, more stretching, mobility work, stuff like that, and just staying loose with the body, and stuff like that. So
You mentioned obviously that it wasn't good to have to be forced out. But when
no,
you take that 10-month period and you're kind of forced to sit on the loss and kind of stew
yeah,
on it,
yeah,
how
yeah.
was that for you?
Oh, it was horrible. And being able to train it'd be all right. I could get into training and do it, but I couldn't even do that, and that was hard, mentally. For any athlete not being able to train. Um, the best thing for depression and or anything that is physical exercise. So not being able to do any of that was really hard. So luckily, I had good people around me at the time, that supported me through it. Um, and I spoke to some people about it and helped me through different things, and that's why I'm a big advocate even for mental health, to say, guys, like, it's not like, you can talk about things, it's okay, like, you don't need to bottle it all up. Because I was obviously going through a lot of emotions, going off the loss and injury, not wondering when am I going to be able to come back, if I'm going to be able to fight again, things like that was all going through my head, which was horrible. So
You mentioned that it begins to you begin to question even being able to fight again,
yeah,
to go through that a forced layoff, those sad moments, those dark moments,
yeah,
and then you come back and you get that first round victory. Like, what is
yeah.
that feeling like?
Oh man, that was unreal. Like, I've had KO wins before, but that was I got really emotional after that one, and yeah, I never normally tear up after, like, a win or anything like that, but that it was just like a big release of emotion, and to celebrate that with my team and all that stuff. That was an amazing moment. To get that definitely to date is my um biggest win. Not so much just the fight, just the everything, the build up, the lead up, coming back, and yeah, it was a beautiful moment.
We've kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but it kind of building off that, you mentioned about being more mature now, and that loss kind of
Yeah,
matured you. Uh,
yeah.
Now, with the perspective you have now, how do you view kind of being so highly touted as an upcoming prospect so kind of early on in your career?
Um, well, people see the performances that I put on, and obviously, it's impressive and stuff. But I train hard. Like, I train really hard. I'm lucky enough to have great training partners, great coaches, and stuff like that. And you wouldn't see me put these performances on without them, without the hard work. So it's good to get the hard work recognized. People talk you up and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I still need to perform, and not read into that stuff too much. It's great to have all the attention and all that, but now I just have to deal with it correctly, and I didn't deal with it very well um, beforehand. So, maybe I just wasn't ready at that time for all of it. But being more mature now, I definitely deal with things a lot differently.
Now, this isn't exactly a question. It's more like I'm just going to say some things and then get your thoughts.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I feel there's a kind of a big shift right now in especially local MMA of
yeah,
young up and coming guys reaching the top very quickly. When you look at like
absolutely.
a John McAuliffe, a Harry Webb, a George Mangos.
Yeah,
And I feel like you're in a very similar position right now to do that in
yeah.
this upcoming fight. Just in general, what are your kind of thoughts on this kind of new, kind of young era of Aussie MMA?
I think it's great. I think it's great that we're recognizing the young talent that this country has to offer, because you see it on the world stage how good Aussie fighters are, and promotions. The big promotions in Australia are breeding the guys that are ready for that high level. Um, and it's great to see young guys step it up and not sort of just pick fights and stuff like that. It's really good for them to see fighting the hard guys, because that's what you do. You're a fighter. You should fight hard fights and want to be tested and stuff like that. There's no point getting there with a padded record. You just make a fool of yourself. So um that's my outlook, and it's great to see other young fighters with the same outlook as me.
There is a documentary on YouTube about yourself
Yeah,
during your amateur career, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that was 2019 or 2020, I think it was.
When you look at the man who's in that documentary, meaning
Yeah,
yourself then, and you look at
yeah, yeah,
yourself now, what are
yeah.
kind of the differences that you see?
uh, Huge differences. Like, I was just a kid back then. I was very, very young, and the dream's still the same. I've always been motivated. I've always, tried to stay humble and stuff like that. Um, but it's very different. Like, even watching that documentary is very, very different. Just the way I was, back then. I've been through some struggles, in my personal life and stuff like that that I've had to deal with, and the people around me know what that is, and it hasn't been easy to deal with, but we've come out the other end, as a better person. I just keep trying to improve myself, day by day, in my fighting career, yes, but as a person as well. Fighting's fighting, but we're still humans at the end of the day. I still have a life, and that's what I've sort of realized.
In that documentary, obviously it focuses on you and the fighting career, but you
Yeah,
talk about some of the other stuff that you do. In the docu, you talk about reading. I was wondering if there's anything
yeah.
you're reading at the moment.
Yes, I'm reading Atomic Habits. Um, that's been a good book. I read that. you know, I struggle with reading a lot, because as I read, it sort of like relaxes me, and I tend to sometimes fall asleep with the book in my in the book in my hand. But no, it's been great, reading different books like that. There's one about, I think, Kobe Bryant's Kobe Bryant's coach. I can't remember the name of it. Relentless, I think it is. That's been a great book as well. That was recommended to me. The Conor McGregor, John Kavanagh book. I've read that one as well. There's a lot of great self help books and stuff that I like reading, and I've gotten back to that recently as well this year. So that's been great. That's one of my goals this year is to try and read more and sort of stay off social media a little bit more as well, because you get caught up scrolling TikTok and Instagram reels and whatnot, and try and sort of be a bit more chill this year. So yeah.
I've been meaning to read Atomic Habits. Would you recommend it?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. It really it's good because it outlines things with habits and how to break them. So you might have a habit, like I have a habit of just scrolling on my phone. I have a habit of I don't know what's my other habit. I don't know, but it's how to create good habits. And if you say have an end goal of, say, hey, I want to be able to do a full split. That's one of my goals. I want to be able to get to a full split. Okay, what do I need to do to get that goal? All right. So when I put a movie on, I stretch. So it's like identifying, okay, do something that you love doing, you like doing, watching a movie, okay, and then do something that you might not want to do, is stretch, because it sucks. Um, but so it just identifies things like that, and how to put things into practice to build good habits and to break, negative ones.
Are you going for the front back split or the side split?
I'm going for sort of more of the side split. Um, that's I have bad hips, man. Genetically, I've got bad hips, so um, yeah, it's been a struggle. But I think that'll help my back as well, because obviously I have a much more intense stretching routine now, to make sure that it doesn't aggravate anything. So I'm trying to focus a little bit more on the mobility and stuff like that, and get it a little bit looser.
The side split is absolutely the coolest split.
Absolutely. What a
The
party trick to have.
the Van Dam split.
What a party trick. So hopefully, if I can get close, maybe not quite the Van Dam with the two chairs, but we're gonna try and get close.
There's always something to aim for.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's what yeah, you gotta set goals, man. You gotta set goals.
It's funny that you say the party trick. That doing the split and
Oh yeah.
or a backflip would be my
I can
ultimate party trip.
I can do the backflip. That's not a problem. I can do the backflip, but I reckon the split is gangster. I reckon that's pretty sick.
I would bust the backflip out all the time. My dream,
Yes.
my dream would be someone's like, "Hey, what's the time?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
half past." Yeah, and then you just do a flip.
Yes. Sweet. I always used to do it as a kid. I'd just walk up to stuff and just flip off it for some strange reason. I don't know why. I used to just always do it, even at school, or me and my mates would hang around construction sites and stuff, riding our push bike. We'd find a bit of sand or something and build it up and just flip off it. And I just I don't understand where it come from, but yeah.
A young boy and his want to flip. It's inherent. It's
Yeah,
genetic.
just flipping, just yeah, doing stupid stuff.
I mentioned him. I think at the top of the interview we spoke about him. But a teammate of yours, Caleb Rideout.
Yeah,
Uh, he was booked against Alden Bates. Unfortunately, that
yeah,
didn't happen.
yeah.
How is Caleb?
He's doing great, man. He's got a young baby daughter, stuff like that. He's doing great, man. He's been back in the gym training, training together and stuff like that. We've been mates, since we were 17. So, it's been great. I wouldn't be where I'm in my career without his help. Having such a great training partner and him sort of leading the way and being able to help, in the preparation and stuff, and being there to ask questions on how to deal with stuff. So, yeah, it's been great to have him back in the gym after, his injury and stuff like that. And I'm sure that everyone's waiting to see him back on the circuit, and I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
Yeah.
It is Tuesday of fight week for you. What does the rest of your week kind of entail? What's on later today and the rest of the week?
Just staying loose, like later today, just focus, on the water load. this week. Tomorrow, just hitting some pads, with Moe and just being calm this week. Hanging out, seeing a couple friends and stuff before I head off on Thursday morning. We'll get up to the Gold Coast, have a walk, have a walk around on surfers, go to the beach or something. Just staying relaxed, man. Just enjoying the whole process. Enjoy talking to yourself and doing some media stuff. It's been great and yeah, just enjoying the whole process.
I thank you very much for the time, Lachlan. One final question from me. You're training out of 3X Academy in New South Wales,
Yeah,
which is on Smeaton Grange. Am I correct?
correct. Yeah, Triple
Uh,
X Fight Academy.
Triple X Fight Academy. And you've spoken about it before, and people kind of know you've gone to, I think it's Gracie on Smeaton Grange is the official title of it as well.
Yeah, yeah, Gracie Smeaton Grange. Yep, Alex Prates and Robert Whitaker's gym. Yeah,
So do you like literally, is it literally just like walking down the street? You just go, hey, I'm just gonna like go down the street and go down there for a little bit.
it is walking distance. Yeah, I would say maybe 2 kilometers. Like you can walk there. Um, it's like an industrial sort of areas where our two gyms are, and it's like walk down a couple of streets, and then yeah, their facilities there.
So literally it's just like, all right, I'm done here, guys. I'm gonna pop down the road and go train down
Yeah,
there a little bit
yeah,
too.
literally just yeah, you can walk that. It's like around the corner. So we have a few, myself and Caleb and Nathan, our gym owner and stuff. We all sort of train over there with the Gracie boys, and they're great to train with, man. Super intense, very so strong in the wrestle as well. So it's been great training with them and stuff like that.
I love that it's just casual like that. Just like, all right, guys,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna go.
that's how we yeah, that's how we are, just you just got to stay casual, That's the fighting community and we're in the same area, so it's great that we get along and we're able to train together. It's really good.
Lachlan, I thank you so much for the time. It was a real pleasure to talk to you. Safe travels up to the Gold Coast and best of luck in the
Yep.
fight. And thank you for the time, man.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.